Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, BECHOROS Lamed Aleph. We begin right on top with the Tanu Rabbanan, which relates back to yesterday, where we learned that if an individual committed himself to a higher cause, he's going to observe higher standards of tahara, purity regarding food matters, etc., regarding truma and maser, disengaged from the Yama Oretz, who's uncareful in these matters. He wants to attain the status of a chaver. As we learned yesterday, the Rambam explains that the term chaver relates specifically to those who are associate with each other in matters of spirit, in matters of ruchnius. The underlying connector between all these individuals is their shared pursuit of higher spirituality. That's the ultimate friendship, ultimate association. Spirit is what unifies us. So he'd like to attain the status of chaver, and he undertakes to adhere to these higher standards. Likewise, we have the Levi, the Kohen, who are committing to their respective processes and systems, halachos of avodah, etc. So they join the club. Tanu Rabbanan v'chulan shechazru behen. After a while, we notice that they're sliding away, they're deviating from their commitments, and they no longer seem to be observing, keeping these standards. Ein mekabel noisan. So once they leave the fold, once they slide away, we will never retake them, never take them back. Olam is forever, because it puts a big question mark on their level of seriousness and their level of commitment. Divrei Meir. So according to Meir, once you were in and then you left, you were out permanently. Rabbi Meir, no, it all depends. It depends to what degree they deviated. Chazru b'matmoiniyos. If their deviation was in private, in the privacy of their home, but in public, they would conduct themselves as a chaver, as a person of high stature, then they're trying to fool us. That's lacking in integrity. You can no longer trust them. Ein mekabel noisan, then in fact we can never re-invite them. But b'farhesya, suppose they were open about their deviations, weren't trying to hide anything, in public, transparent. In which case, if they change their mind again and decide, we'll give it another try, mekabel noisan, and then you can trust their sincerity and re-invite them into the club. Ikadamri, there's another version of this opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, just the opposite. If it was just in private, then it doesn't have the element of publicity of chilul Hashem, desecration of Hashem's name, and disregard for the halachas. Then it's not so terrible. Then once they turn around, you can re-invite them. But if it was done in public with total disregard for these matters, that's more severe, that's worse off. In which case, we don't take them back. If they conducted their things b'matmoiniyos, in private, out of public eye, then if they turn around and come back, mekabel and oisam, we take them back. But b'farhesya, in public, which Rashi explains has an element of chilul Hashem, then ein mekabel oisam, we no longer invite them back. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Karcha Imrim, they disagree. Either way, we always leave the door open for you. Hey, benkach or benkach, whether it was this way or that, it doesn't matter. Mekabel and oisam, we'll take them back. There's always a way back. Mishum shenamar, as per the pasuk, where Hashem tells us, "Shuvu banim shevavim, return to me, you wayward children." And Rashi in Avodah Zarah says shevavim, relates even to mezid. Vayelach shevav, Rashi says. So even if it was outright and mezid, The door is always open. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Ish Kvar Akoy, he quoted Amar Rabbi Yechanan, that's the way we go. Halacha is Azuk, Halacha adopts the opinion of this pair of Chachamim. The third Shita, the road to Teshuvah is always open. Tan Rabbana, likewise, we have another Brisa. But Rishona, I remember way back in the days, they would say, Chaver, if a fellow had already attained the status of Chaver. Then he took on a job which was less than ideal. Vanasa Gabai. It doesn't mean a Gabai in the shul, it means a Gabai who was a tax collector on behalf of the government, who weren't always known to be upstanding and men of integrity. They would use their position to blackmail, to coerce people, to extort money. So it wasn't a position that you'd like to be associated with. So if the Chaver turned into a Gabai, we cancel his Chaver membership. We reject him from the Chaverus. And even Piresh, even if he leaves that new job, too bad. Once you're out, you're out. We can't take you back. Chazru Leima. That was the initial, approach. Then the Chachamim turned around and said, you know what? Sure, while he's a Gabai, it's unbefitting, to call him a Chaver, but Piresh, he decides to leave the job and comes back to us, Harihu Kechal Adam, he's treated like anybody else. Now, the Di Kechal Adam, Mefarshim point out, doesn't mean that he gets his status restored. It just means like anybody else, which means to say he has to restart the application process, the training he has to restart like anybody else, but he's not worse off than anybody else. And this sort of fits with the previous Gemara as well, that the road is always open, the door is always open for you. In fact, there was a story with Rav Huna Bar Chia, who was a big expert, a very learned person in Stricha Leishat. Turns out that at that time they needed his expertise, needed to ask him something in a matter of Torah. Some learned that they were going to appoint him as the Rosh HaYeshiva. Okay, and a very large and prominent entourage of Chachamim came to visit him, to propose to him. Hava Ayel Gabei, so who was coming to him? Rabbah, and also Rav Yosef, and 400 Chachamim along with him. Va'arba Mea Zuga, the Rabbanan 400, Rabbanan Zuga means pairs, Chavrusas, came to present to him. Shamadas, when he got word that this large entourage is arriving, he prepared their seats, their chairs, cut a lui tied for them, maybe the cushions on the chair. Arba Mea Tachtaki, 400, seats. Turns out they never made it. Turns out, on the way they heard that he assumed a new position, he became a Gabai, which was not the position that would befit a Rosh HaYeshiva. So they sent him a message, you know what, it's your option. You undertook this new role, this new position. Well, that's instead of this. Zil l'chashivusay, go to your prominent. Zil l'chadamusay, go to your first choice, if that's your choice. Okay, it's your decision, but you lost out. Shalach lu, so he responded, Hadribi, you know what? You're right. I'm canceling. I'm leaving the job. So what happened? Rav Yosef lo. Rav Yosef still wouldn't go to him. Once he was tainted, once he associated with this dishonesty, he's unbefitting to be appointed Rosh HaYeshiva. Rabba did go to him. Rabbi Yosef Amar, he says, I can't go. Tanina, we have a brisa, Pirushem B'Kavon, even if they lose that position, we reject him. Rabbi Amar says, no. Look at the last part of the brisa. Tanina, the brisa concludes, they changed this halacha. Chazru Leima, they turned around, they said, Pirush, once he leaves that position, he's back to normal. And the Mepharshim explained the plan Rabbi Yosef held. Yeah, he's like anybody else, but to appoint him Rosh HaYeshiva, for that, you have to have sterling, credentials, which, in his opinion, this didn't qualify. Tan Rabbanan. Here comes an interesting brisa. So the Kohen got a hold of the Bechor. He's waiting for it to get a mum. Nowadays you can't do anything with him until it gets a mum. And he notices a blemish, which appears to him like a qualifying blemish, mum kavua. Could he go with it? Could he just make his own psak, or does he have to go show it to another rav? Tan Rabbanan, kol ha-bechor is adam roya. A person has the ability to paskin on any bechor, provided it belongs to other people. where you have no vested interest in expediting, the process. So there you're going to be objective and impartial, but your own bechor, no. Chutz me shel atzmi, can't inspect your own bechor. For you might be motivated by your interest in moving the process along and alleviating yourself of the work and the effort. Imagine a kohen has to go raise an animal in his backyard. It could be 10 years until it gets a mum. So you're not being eman, you're not going to be trusted on your own. But when it comes to other karbanos, suppose a person owns a shlamim and he notices a mum. Can he issue his own ruling? Yeah. V'reis kadasha. Ves masreis, likewise a maser behema animal, if he notices a mum, he can do it alone. V'nishal tareis, likewise if he has matters of tahara, questions on his status of his food, he can make his own decision. Amar mar. Let's explain the difference. So let's review. Kala b'cheres adam roi chutz mishal atzmai. You can view any bechor except for your own. B'mayaskinan. How many people are involved in expecting the bechor? Ilay mebachad is just one person, and one person is never believed. Rashi brings the Gemara later, Talmud Bavli, you need at least 3 people. Ela b'tlas, apparently there are 3 involved. Okay, if it's 3, and 2 are objective, so we're not concerned about an incorrect ruling. Since when do we suspect 3 of wrongdoing? But now we have a Mishnah back in Yivamis. Miyana b'shachotza b'fan of a woman who rejects her husband, or there was chalitza done in front of this scholar. Yisa ena. Subsequent to this procedure, you can go marry her. We're not concerned that perhaps he was motivated by his own interest and he processed her procedure so that he can go marry. No. If he's one alone, maybe, but he's part of a trio of a bezdin. And they're not swayed, so we're not concerned about impropriety. Maybe she was bezdin because he's part of a bezdin. Okay, here as well, if we have 3 people paskening on the bechor, what's the issue? Leila b'chad. Certainly we're speaking about one kohen, one person, and not 3. In which case it arouses suspicion of impropriety. Perhaps he's motivated by interest. Well, how could you have 1? Just as Rabbi Yechon teaches us regarding nullifying a vow. Mater net, you can have either a bezdin of 3, or if you have 1 super expert, a mumcha, 1 is enough. Here as well, by a bechor, standard procedure requires 3. But if he's a mumcha, he can do it 1 alone. In which case we say, but not your own. But v'rei is kadashav. But you can rule on the status of your carbon and determine that it has a mum, which allows its pidyon and shchita. Why? Why is that different than mechor? Perhaps he's also motivated to get it over with. Because he has a much more simpler legal alternative to get out of it. Mitchell, just go she'ela, go to the Rav and undo the vow. The carbon had become kaddish through his expression, through his verbal expression. That's like a vow. It's like a nether which can be mater. Can undo it. If he's really looking to relieve himself of this burden, just go and undo the nether. Why bother blemishing your animal, which is an isser? Right? The pasuk said, lo yahaya. We're not allowed to manipulate, we're not allowed to go and inflict a wound. And so why would he do that? Why would he... That or further, or more specifically, why would he go and... He didn't inflict it, but it was there. He would go and he would fudge it, he would... pretend that it's a mum. Why would he do that? Just go and undo the... Okay, so again, the concern was he discovers a mum on his animal, which isn't really a mum. Shall we be concerned that perhaps he'll misjudge it and misrule? No. Because he can just go and undo the kedusha. Apparently, when he rules it to be a mum, it is correct. Same thing with the maser behema. He's allowed to issue a ruling on the status of the mum. Why? Because once again, he has an easy alternative, which could have preempted this whole issue if he really would have wanted, if that's his interest. The Ibayu, because if he wishes, shadive mumma, he can inflict a mum bekulei edri, his entire flock, an entire herd. Rashi explains he'll do it before processing the sheep and appointing the maser behema. So he goes and clips all the ears, And then he goes and he puts them through the pen, through the door, and he counts them out, and inevitably the Maser Behem will have a mum. He's one of the bunch. So if he wishes to avoid any, issues of being burdened by he would just preempt the system. Okay, so since he has an easy alternative, we assume that now that he's ruling and he's paskening about the mum, it's real and it's genuine. Last item, v'nishal ataroisav. Why is he trusted regarding matters of taharis? Because what does he have to gain? The his loss isn't very big. Suppose it's really tummy. Why should he go and manipulate it? You can just eat it when he's tummy. The chazalei, they're suitable for him when he's tummy. We're talking about chulin, Rashi says. Regular ordinary food, which he is, careful about eating when he's taught to eat it in a status of tahara. But if it's tummy, you can just put it aside without any loss. There's no big deal. And that's why we trust him to rule that in fact it's Torah. Now Tei says Akasha. Okay, that's good regarding chulin, which is tummy, which you can save for a rainy day. But truma, let's say, which is tummy, that's unsuitable at all. So you mean to say a person's not going to be trusted to rule on matters of truma where there's potential loss, and other matters of isur v'heter, basar v'cholo. Tei says Akasha. He doesn't answer. So Shita Mekubez actually seems to indicate. He says that a person may be tempted to fudge around when it comes to chulin, because it's only a chumrah, it's only the rabbanon, matters of purity in chulin materials. But there's no room to think that a person will manipulate, the halacha and matters that are, clearly serious and heavy regarding truma tmeya and regarding other matters of isur v'heter. And that's why over there, a person is neman. Hadran loch ad kama Yisrael chayav. Okay, new parak. Says the Mishnah. Kol pesuli hamekdosh. This is a term referring to karbonis, which experienced a mum. Rashi says kadoshim shenafal behen mum. Okay, so now it's blemished. You go and redeem it. Ultimately, you redeem it and you shecht it. Now you have a ton of meat. What do you do with so much meat? You can sell in the market. They can be sold in the marketplace, in the butcher shop. We can shecht them over there. We can weigh them on the scale. You don't have to treat them differently than other meats. Okay, so litra actually is referring to a specific a weight, which is a reference to weighing it the way you do. Okay, so that's regarding psulei hamikdash. And then what I'll explain, even though you seem to be, degrading the honor of the Kodesh material, because after all, even after it got blemished and was redeemed, there are still residual elements of Kedusha on it. You can't, right? We had this discussion many times. You're only able to eat the meat, but this animal cannot be worked or shorn, etc. So why then do we go and treat it like anything else, like regular merchandise in the market? The Gemara will explain because Hegdish has potential gain and benefit from this procedure. Because when a fellow anticipates the ability to sell in the market and get a good income for the material, he'll be more willing to offer a more generous offering regarding redemption. So ultimately, the Hegdish will benefit from it. So it's like sacrificing Hegdish for Hegdish. And that's why we allow it. Except chutz min ha-bechor v'ha-maser. You see, these are different. Firstborn animal given to the kohen or the maser behem, which the owner keeps. In these, when there is a mum, you have to still treat them with utmost respect. You can't sell them in the marketplace like any other commercial material. You know why? Because here, who benefits from it? Not Hegdish. There's no money going to Hegdish. Shani yasin labalim, because the benefit is only to the owner. In which case, he's not allowed to sort of trample upon the honor of the carbon for his own benefit. As opposed to psulei mikdashim, as opposed to the first category of carbonis, any extra income, any gain and benefit, ultimately benefits Hani Yasin LaHegdish, and that's why it's allowed. Conclusion, although you're not meant to weigh the bechor material on an ordinary scale, the way you do ordinary meat, but if you do it a little bit different than normal, so basically you have a piece of meat sitting there, regular meat from chulin, which you know weighs a pound, weighs a mana. You can take that and weigh it against the a corresponding piece of the bechor meat to determine the weight of the bechor meat, as long as you're not using an actual unit of weight. So since it's derech shinui, you're allowed to. Ask the Gemara. So kol psulei hamekdashim, you're telling me that psulei hamekdashim, that gains hekdesh, that benefits hekdesh, hanasan lehekdesh. How? When? When does hekdesh have any income from psulei hamekdashim? Emas, what are we talking about? When in the process are we holding? Ilay melacha b'dyoinen. Was the shlamim that experienced the mum already redeemed? It's done deal. So why allow it to be sold in the market? To allow the owner, the new owner, the redeemer, to gain and benefit from that income. It's benefiting only him and only him. Hanasan lehegdish. Why is the hana going to hegdish? The hegdish got their money. It's been redeemed. It's over. Hanasan lebailam. Any benefit going further is to the owner. Elof nebedyain. Oh, apparently it's before redemption. Says the Gemara nishchatin. So we're allowing it to be sold, to be shechted, and once you shecht it, you can't do pidyon. Haboy hamad baruch. You have to stand up and assess the animal, which you can't do after shechita. That works according to the opinion that shlamim, anything which is mizbeach related, does not need that process. Okay, so it works. You can redeem it after shechita. According to the opinion, that even kachim mizbeach were obligated in this process, so we're stuck again. How can you do pidyon after shechita? Oh, apparently we're speaking, it was already redeemed, it's over, post pidyon. And when we say that you can sell it commercially in order to benefit hegdish, what was intended is that what does that mean? Adim yikara. It's going back to the beginning of the process. That a fellow will be more inclined to provide a generous offering to the hegdish in terms of the amount he's willing to pay to redeem it, since he anticipates a profit. To given the shari l'homar, dinim karan be'itlis, v'nishchatan be'itlis, v'nishgon be'litra. Since you allow this fellow to ultimately take it out to the market and sell it for proper, market value, tafi, he'll add uparik in his redemption mikar initially. So initially he'll offer a more generous offering. So ultimately hegdish will benefit from it, except for b'chara maser, where the money goes to the owner. Chutz b'chara maser, we don't allow treating them like regular material, because there, who has to gain? Only the owner. There's no money going to the hegdish. Okay, now let's dwell on the concept of selling b'chara maser. Could you sell b'chara maser? Bishlam b'char. Okay, so certainly the b'char be'itlis udlay misdabin. Although you can't sell it out in the market, hababeisei misdab, you can sell it at home. The b'char, once he gets the kohen, once he gets the b'char, it's his material. You can sell it even to Yisrael, no problem. So that's good. Ela maser be'beisei misdabin, but maser behema can't be sold at all, even in the privacy of your home. V'atani, we have a brayse, but b'char namaloi sifte. By Bechor it says, Lo yisifta, you don't redeem, you don't sell it. It's referring to the Yisrael prior to delivering it to the Kohen. But once the Kohen gets it, it's his private material, he can do whatever he wants. You can sell it even while it's alive. As opposed to B'maser Behem it says, Namar lo yigayel, which takes it a step further. You can't. Lo yigayel means it cannot be redeemed, it cannot be sold. Whether it's alive or after shechita, blemished, unblemished, you can't sell it. So how is he selling maser at all? That's the question. And this question was already asked by Rav Sheshes. So this dilemma, Rav Sheshes already had this kasha, but that night. And in the morning he woke up with the answer. And he resolved it because Musa in the morning, based on a brisa. So he must have dreamt the answer. big tzaddikim would learn Torah in their sleep. In fact, Arizal says the whole purpose. The Arizal used to dream Seydus HaTorah, and the Chaim Volozhin writes from the Vilna Gaon, the whole purpose of sleep, Hashem gave us sleep so that we can delve deeper into our learning Torah. In fact, I was reading recently, they have a study they came up with that a person actually internalizes his material, his learning, whatever he learns by day, internalizes it and reviews it during nighttime, during dreams. It's time for Chazorah. Okay, so he resolved it in the morning, came up with an answer, based on a brisa, which will be learned a bit later, which teaches us that Min Torah, a maser behema animal cannot be sold while alive. But after shchita, it's mutter to sell Min Torah. Midrabanan, we don't differentiate, so it's asr, but in certain cases we allow. Such as, but maser behema shall yisayim, Maskinim was speaking about maser behema belonging to young orphans. When Mishum Hashavas Haveda Nogu Chum allowed it because of a special, allowance of Hashavas Haveda to give them a source of income. Now she explains otherwise. What in the world are they going to do with a huge goat, 200 pounds of meat for a couple of kids? So we allow them to sell it. So that's the solution to the Mishnah. How are you selling a maser behema? Because really, Min Torah, it's mutter to sell after shchita. It's only also midrabanan. They made a special dispensation in special circumstances. Now, Rav Idi was Sarsei, was the Shamis, the assistant of the Rav Sheshes Shami. So he heard this interesting teretz to explain the Mishnah, right? Yisayim, right? Azal Amr b'Midrash. He went into the Beis HaMedrash and he related the answer without sourcing it. Well, Amr B'Shmei didn't relate it to Rav Sheshes. He just said it over. Shamar Rav Sheshes Ikbal. Rav Sheshes heard that it was being said over without attributing it to his name. He wasn't happy. Why? Amar, he said, Man, he expressed himself pretty harshly. Man da'ak is one who bites, Akrav should be bitten by a scorpion. Rashi says a reference to Chayrim, to excommunication. He was upset that the source was not mentioned. What's the big deal? Rav Sheshes ma'naf kilei mina. What Rav Sheshes cares so much whether his name was mentioned or not? The answer is, it's so important to relate the Torah to its source. It's his part of Torah, it's his perspective of Torah, and it's meant to stay on that way forever. Even after a person's passing. When that Torah is related in his name in this world, which is the main place of learning Torah, through hardship, through darkness, through challenge, right? So that Torah that's being learned in his name in this world allows him in El Haba to re-experience, to share in that learning going on in this world, and to use chus. We find that David HaMelech was yearning for this. What does the pasuk mean? Agura, I will dwell, ba'alacha, on your dwelling, oilamim, in two worlds. How could you live in two worlds at the same time? Either here or there, right? Ella, rather, he meant like this. Even after my passing, after 70 years, I would love that they learn my Torah in this world so that I can experience the Olam Hazeh, learning with them while I'm up in Olam Haba. That's a true prize. Learning down here, in Olam Haba, of course everyone's learning, enjoying themselves, but to be part of Olam Hazeh, of the light, breaking through the darkness, through the challenges, emotional, physical, financial, to learn the Torah in this world, that's the Chiddush. And that's what he wanted to take part in. Rather, David HaMelech tells Hashem, Rebbeinu shall master the world, Yoimru davar shmua mipi, B'Olam Hazeh, I would like that they should be learning and relating matters of Torah from me in this world, even when I'm in El Haba. Why? He quoted Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, called Talmud Chacham, Sha'imrim davar shmo mipi B'Olam Hazeh, Talmud Chacham, who is Zeicha, that they relate matters of Torah in his name in this world. His lips move around in the kever. He's participating in that Olam Hazeh learning, in that great experience of learning Torah in the darkness of this world. Biggest chos shayach. No, first we'll explain, not necessarily that we have the physical lips moving, but it means, the lips represent a certain element of the person's nefesh, and that expresses Torah, that takes part in the verbalization of Torah, and that's participating, that's taking part in their learning. What do we find this in the pasuk as well? Like wine, so we learned that the lips of a tzaddik are like it's like the pile of grapes. Just like the pile there in the wine press. Once a person just gives a little touch on the corner, the whole thing quivers. When matters of Torah related in their name, his lips move around the kever. And he takes part and re-experiences that Torah with them. Okay, so Shesha has resolved the Mishnah. How do we sell Maser Behema? We're talking about a unique case, Yisayimim, who need it, because really, the sale of Maser Behema is banned min Torah during the lifetime of the Maser Behema. But after Shechita, it's only Osir D'Rabbanan, and we allow it for special cases. My Brisa, where's that in the Brisa? The Sanya. Maser Behema shel Yisayimim meichron Yisayim. So firstly, right, the Maser Behema of Yisayim could be sold, as we explained before. So after Shechita, you can sell it. Okay, done. Now, the Brisa continues. U'Maser Behema sheshachta. A fellow shechted Maser Behema. Now, is this the same as the first case? Is this a new case? We'll have a discussion about this in a minute. There's another way to sell Maser Behema. Mavli, you absorb it. You absorb the price of the meat within the price of the skin, which is inedible, which is you can sell. There's no ban against selling the skins and the bones, inedibles of the Maser Behema. So just swallow in, just absorb. Mavli, the price of the meat. Don't sell the meat, just sort of include it. Ba'iroi, the price of the hide, b'chalavoi, and the fats, and begida of the sinews, of the karnav, and the horns. Okay, now, Maikama, what does the price of mean? Two parts, right? Number one, you can sell outright. Number two, only absorption. Which way? Amar Abaye, we're talking two people. Sorry, Amar Abaye Chakam. The Brisa means like this: Maser Behema shel Yisayimim moichron Yisayim b'avlo. It's one and the same case. We have a special dispensation for the Maser Behema of Yisayimim to spare their losses, to provide them with livelihood. Go ahead and sell it, but not outright. It shouldn't appear like you're selling it outright. To avoid, any perception, anybody perceiving that you can sell, so don't do it outright. Special exception, do it b'havlo. Says the Gemara. So you're indicating that even b'havlo, even by way of this absorption method, that's only allowed for Yisayimim. But a gadol, an adult, a regular person, you can't sell Maser Behema even by way of this absorption system. Why? Why not? Havlo. It's something we allow all over. On Shabbos, a person that works on Shabbos, how does he get paid? Havlo. It's absorbed in, some other work that he does during the week. So technically, it's not considered being paid for Shabbos. So we find it all over the place. In fact, we'll see in a minute by Shemitah and Lulav and Esrei do the same thing. What's wrong with doing the Havlo system for anybody, even an adult, even a regular seller? Why is it only allowed for minors who are orphans? Why is it different than the Mishnah in Sukkah? Okay, it's a Shemitah year. I'd like to buy the Lulav and Esrei, Adas and Barabes. Rashi explains that the Lulav technically does not have Kedusha Shvius. Why? Because it grew mainly on the 6th year and was only picked this year, so technically it's relating to last year's season, and there's no Kedusha Shvius. You can buy it, you can pay for it, the money has no special status. But the issue is with the esrog. The esrog, even if it was developed on the 6th year, but it was picked, it goes based on when it's picked. Picked now, it has current status, it's labeled as Perush Shvius, and what's wrong with that? Rashi says, the seller here is not a reliable person, he's not ma'aretz, he'll take your money and do business with it, so we don't want to risk giving him money in exchange for the Shemitah fruit, which will have special status, has to be treated respectfully in special halachis. So what do you do to avoid that? To preempt handing in money in exchange for the esrog. I mean, you need the esrog. You can't just have a lulav and an esrog. So what do you do? You convince the owner to gift you the esrog. I'll pay for the lulav, but not for the... Why? I meant to buy the esrog on Shvita, as we explained. The question was asked, okay, that's if the guy's cooperating. But let's say the guy's not interested in giving the matana. What do you do then? You absorb the price of the esrog and the price of the lulav. Right, she explained, not a big deal, because in any case, the esrog is not very expensive. Damim kalim, big deal, a couple of pennies in those days. Esrog was a big deal, wasn't a big deal. So just have it absorbed. No, so what do we see? Havla is a perfectly legitimate system. So why not do the same by Maser Behema? Absorb the price of the meat, which shouldn't be sold outright. Just absorb it into the price of the inedibles. The answer is Hasam lo muchamilsa. Hacham muchamilsa. Big difference. Here it's very apparent. I mean, the fellow's spending $1,000 for a piece of skin, a piece of bone. Obviously not. It's covering the meat, so it's appearing like he's selling the meat. But Hasam, by the esrog, Rashi says, Dam of kalam. How much does the esrog cost? $0.25, $1? Just throw it in, include it in the price of the lulav. Nobody will know the difference. So it's not going to be apparent that it's actually being sold. There's no room for misconception, misunderstanding. Okay, so it turns to Abaye. So according to your understanding of the price, it's all the same case. Maser Behema v'Yisoyimim can be sold provided through the Havla system. Amar Rava became Maser Behema Treizim Lamli. Look back at the Brisa, it mentions Maser Behema twice. Maser Behema Yisoyimim could be sold, and the Maser Behema could do Havla. It's the same case. Why repeat the term Maser Behema? Elamar Rava, let me tell you, the Brisa is talking about two separate cases, giving us two allowances regarding the sale of Maser Behema. As we explained before, really, Min Torah, one may not sell Maser Behema during its lifetime, but after Shechita he could. But there are abundant, we don't differentiate, but we have special dispensations for Yisoyimim or Havla for any party. Since it doesn't appear like a blatant sale, it's not going to lead to being sold during its lifetime, which is our main concern. The Brisa means like this: okay, the Maser Behema can be sold outright without any, special arrangements. Maser Behema the Gadol, Maser Behema of an ordinary person, that was shechted, can also be sold provided he did it with the Havla arrangement. How do I know that this is so? The pasuk says regarding Maser Behema, you can't sell the Maser Behema. At what point are we talking? While alive or afterwards? Well, if the pasuk relates to the Tmura process, that's certainly happening during the lifetime of the swap has to happen when it's alive. And likewise, regarding the Isra to sell, mentioned that same pasuk is also while alive. But however, after Shechita you can do it. Not Torah. The Rabbanon, the goes and say, you know what? If we allow it now, it's going to lead to be done while alive, so we don't allow it even after Shechita. But that Gzera has limitations. It only applies to circumstances which correspond to an ordinary sale while alive. And therefore, davar nisha mechayim, material which is assessed, which you pay for, meaning the prominent element of the animal, which is its meat, that we don't allow to be sold outright, even after Shechita. Goes Rabban. Lacha Shechita, they disallowed it now, out of Shechita, lest it come to be done lifnei Shechita while alive. Again, so something which is ordinarily sold, we don't want it to happen while alive, so we don't do it even after Shechita. But davar she'en nishim mechayim, we turn to the next limit. But material which is typically not assessed, not sold outright, hide and the bone, they're just thrown in as a freebie. Davar she'en nishim mechayim, like us Rabbanon. It's not typically the object of sale, so to speak. So after shechita, you can just sell it outright. In which case, as long as the focal point of the sale is on the inedibles, you can just throw in, so to speak, and absorb the meat into the deal without concern. That's even by a regular person. And certainly by Yisraimim, we allow it to be sold even outright, because we reverted to the din daraisa, meaning we're not going to be strict with them because of their circumstance. They can sell it outright. Likewise, he went along with Rava's approach, just from a different pasuk. How do I know that the ones of the Yisraelim can be sold outright? Because truthfully, it's not parshanut-torah-comment, it's only rabbanon, and they give an allowance. And Rashi explains that we're talking about the Psuli HaMikdashim, that they got a mum, right? Pasuk says you can go eat it, shecht and eat it. V'achalta basar kirvirkas Hashem alikecha, as per Hashem's blessing to you. So you'll have the blessing by, doing the shechita and eating it afterwards. Now, Eizeu davar she'en boi bracha mechayim. Elach hashchita. Let's infer. Pasuk is implying that in this case, the bracha means the enjoyment of Hashem's bounty only happens elach hashchita, if the shechita, but not while alive. You can't have enough from it while alive. Eizeu davar she'en boi bracha mechayim. Elach hashchita. Give me an example. You can only benefit after shechita, not before. You see a regular psula mikdashim, like a shlomim which experience a mum, you could have an even mechayim, just to make a pidyon, right? Just redeem it and enjoy it. So you could have an even while alive. So give me an example of something which you can until after shechita. We have only one candidate. Havayim is a masa behema. And we learn from here that you can't sell it, i.e. you can't have enough from it during its lifetime. The only thing you can do is do shechita. But after shechita you could sell it. Right? You can't sell it mechaim, you could sell it after shechita. So clearly parshanut-torah it's allowed. But as we explained, the Rabbanan it's not allowed, even though it's the shechita, but they allowed it for Yisraelim, or in the case of Avlo. Iboil, one more piece. Now comes a shayla. So we allow Havla. Iboil, ma lavliyai ba'atzames. Can I absorb the value of the meat in the value of the bones? Right, which are allowed to be sold, they're not edible. So, can I do it with the bones? Charge you for $1,000 for the bones, and everything else comes along with it. Rab Chia, there was a difference of opinion between Rab Chia and Rab Shimon ben Rebbe. One says yes, one says no. Chadamar avliyoi in the price of the bones. Chadamar no, ein avliyoi. There really is no conceptual machlekes. They're talking different animals. Habadaka, habagasa. By light animal, the bones have no value. Nobody sells bones. They're not really suitable for making of tools or utensils. But habagasa, by the large, the cattle, their bones have value. They're fashioned into utensils. So there, it makes sense. And it's considered, like a proper sale. In which case, it could be mavliya. Another way to approach this. They're both speaking about large animals. And they're, they're just expressing, they're reflecting the common practice in their respective towns. Here they would use them for tools, here they wouldn't. In which case it doesn't really have value, and you can't use it for havla. Marki Asrei, he's expressing the minig of his makom, where they would make the atzamais into kalim, and it's deemed a proper, it's viewed as a proper material which is sellable, which has value. Umar Kasrei, he's reflecting his own place where they don't use it for anything useful. So it's prosperous to go and say, well, I'm selling you the bones for $1,000 and I'm including the meat where the bones have no value. But in concept, they will agree. If it's something which is considered an item of value, which is typically, sellable, then you could do the havla and sell it like that. Okay, let's do a quick chazor of today's daf. We have an individual is makabel to be a chaver, to join the kahuna, levia, and then they slid away, deviated from observance. But then, they had a change of heart, decided to come back again. We have three opinions. Always take them back, never take them back, sometimes. Likewise, a fellow turned a gabbai, dishonors the tax collector. There's issues with his status there too. A person's neman, with the muman is karban, the muman is maser behema, to paskin on his taharis, but not on his own bechor, lest he be swayed of personal interests. Regarding selling the meat of the psula mikdashim in a commercial fashion to fetch the best price, that's only allowed by psula mikdashim, which ultimately benefits hegdish when the fellow anticipates that sale and offers a generous offering to redeem it, as opposed to bechor and maser, where there is no such factor. In which case, you have to sell it. If you wish to sell it privately, with little fanfare, in order to preserve the honor and the kavod of its status. How are you selling at all? Well, bechor works with a pasuk, maser behema, which is not allowed to be sold. So how are we talking about selling it? According to Abaye, Yisayimim, and according to Rava, either Yisayimim or Behavla'ah. And the reason behind it was that Minater, the Isra is only while alive, after Shechita only the Rabbanan. But if it's a special circumstance, then we allow. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.